Hello everyone, it's Tuesday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Mariah Afolabi Brand as always. I have the ladies here. Hello. Hello. Hiding YK in the building with the pink and black going on.
Oh yes, pink and black, and you're in orange, burnt orange.
Yeah, so I like the orange
burnt orange.
Thank you. Hiding YK, anything?
I'm fine.
How was your break yesterday?
My what?
The holiday.
The holiday? Oh, I didn't even know it was a holiday till it was too late. In fact, because I would have spent the night with my...
Yoga.
But since I didn't know...
You know, you always forget that you're approaching 60. Oh. It's your enjoyment. It's too much.
Well, I have celebration wahala on my head. I have not paid my debts and sponsors have not answered. I don't want to start lamenting. I'll just be... lamenting, which I do not want to do.
God will help you pay those the debt, eh?
No, the sponsors, this has nothing to do with God. Please leave God out of this.
So God
has helped us do celebration. Listen, God has helped us do celebration. Right. Now, sponsors,
do your own part.
They can pay. We're disturbing God for different things.
There are too many.
There are too many things.
God will help us talk to the sponsors to quickly pay now, so that they can, that's the idea.
Do not worry, God, please.
Okay, no worry. How are you doing, Nima?
I'm very well.
How was Wimbies?
Wimbies was nice.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, before I talk about Wimbies, let me quickly just pay back this debt I owed a fan of Your View, Victoria Nathaniel. Madam Victoria Nathaniel sends her greetings to her new Nigerian women. And she has a caption for each and every one of us and what we stand for. She's been a fan for years. I promised her over a few weeks back that I was going to give her a shout out, and I forgot about it.
So, Madam Victoria.
Because of the Wimbies preparation. So I now got to Wimbies, so I looked at the plethora of women, achieving women, and I lost my confidence. I kept saying,
everything just disappeared.
Well, I was a bit intimidated.
Oh, no.
It should.
You showed that, man. You did
the
that.
Pictures I saw.
I was intimidated.
The way you were farming.
Oh, no, don't mind them. You did great. I watched your videos.
It was later that I saw that I did great, but rating myself, I felt I didn't do well. And now YK, you know YK is better like that.
She has this.
She owes me a new handbag for what she
But
just
you know
did.
you can hold your own anywhere.
Exactly.
Because you have accomplished a lot on this show.
They believed in me, and you know, at some point I thought, you know, I lost my thoughts when I started, and then
Well, one thing Nima, you should know is that regardless of what the package is about, you have content.
Exactly.
A lot of people don't have content. It's just about packaging. They are packaged, but they don't have content.
Exactly.
You have serious content. Yeah. And wherever you go, you must be able to let them know that, yes, you have content. And, it's
and not
important.
to even put the other women.
Intelligent woman.
Exactly.
Yeah, so trust me, they got nothing on you.
No.
They got nothing on you, I can tell you.
They didn't. My partner was amazing.
Yes,
standing. In fact, I felt like just cheering when I kept hearing, because we had practiced together the day before, even that morning. And I just felt she held it on well. The other team too, with their drama, amazing ladies as well.
So it's good. Well, I hope you network though. I hope you may have new friends.
I didn't actually.
You should have network. That's the idea.
She was too busy. I saw a picture of her. She was hugging like this.
They were hugging me.
Anyways,
well, I think you did great.
No, that
I
picture
saw
I
the
saw.
videos.
Which one?
Anyway, okay, let's move on to Mariam.
Send you any picture.
Hi, Mariam. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. See, I just really need to shout out to the Lagos State government for doing those roads, those bridges. I need to, because every time we complain when they are not doing it right, but they've done most of the work. And also, they sort of give us space. I understand.
Which area, please tell us?
So all the bridges I've talked about, not the bridges, the Jibowu bridges and the Ojuelegba bridges. They're working on it. And then the roads as well from Fadeyi area, they're working on it. And they've even done it in such a way that we're able to still move, you know, because I told you guys how it would create traffic. So they'll do just a part of the bridge side, one side, and then they move to the next. So, you know, it's also like they're being sensitive also to Nigerians.
Yeah,
so
I totally agree with you, because I even noticed in our own area, Iju Road, this was even long before, when Sanwo-Olu first came in, that they had tarred the Iju Road. You know, so actually, I do agree with you, but I'm praying that Dakpo Abiodun, is that his name?
Yes.
Will come and do our own area.
Ogun State.
Hey.
You should go and pay me a visit.
Hey.
So maybe you're not speaking enough. Yes, maybe you're not speaking enough.
They don't complain now.
I will be singing, I will be doing like Nima now.
Yes,
oh
now.
my goodness, Alagbole. The roads are bad.
Like, where's that again?
Governor, Alagbole. Don't worry, you will soon know. You that you come to my house. The roads are bad. Well, please, government, Ogun State government help us do this road.
I think also for...
It takes a 5-minute journey. It takes 30 minutes.
Oh,
5-minute journey.
Why can't you not bad yet then?
Eh? No, the road is shorter. You want to compare it to your own road.
If it's 30 minutes,
Yeah, no,
you want to compare your own road, how long your own road is? Your own road is about...
Anyways, I think for Nigerians,
20 kilometers.
I think I like Nigerians to take pictures of their neighborhoods, like that's the neighborhood roads, and show us and send it to our TV Connect, #YourViewTVC. We'll put those pictures up for our viewers to see, so that our government can see where they need to fix. So if you have issues with your neighborhood, send it to @TVC Connect, #YourViewTVC, so we can get those pictures, save it, and on the show, we show our viewers so that government officials who are watching can see the neighborhoods that need interventions, right, YK?
Yes.
Hopefully your government will see
I will start.
Take some pictures and send them.
By Thursday, you will see my pictures.
No worries. Let's go on a break now. When we come back, we'll go through the front pages of the newspapers. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Yeah. Thanks for staying with us. We're going to start with The Nation. Makinde Appeal Court sets aside tribunal's verdict. Picture here of late Professor David West. Devolve power, give more cash to states, says Oshomole. Customs generates over ₦1 trillion in 9 months. Opera launches Opera News Hub. Fashola government to complete road projects. Uniben Abu join rival ASU group. An army puts 130 soldiers on court-martial. Let's start with Governor Makinde's drama. Please, who has that story?
So Governor Makinde's elections that was upheld at the...
At Oyo State.
At Oyo State, that was upheld at the election tribunal has been, you know, would I say upturned at the appeal court? Because yes, the judgment read, but we didn't see any consequences.
It was very confusing.
What was exactly to happen? So the judgment also, the bench also puts the judgment at that it has expired the 180 days. Usually, consequences will be that whoever is in office might continue. That's
in layman's terms, for those who have not, for those layman's terms, what happened was that, according to my understanding, please correct me if I'm wrong, the court is saying that the evidence provided by what's the other man's name? Who was it? Should have actually been read at the court, but unfortunately it wasn't. Yeah. So if it was within the 180 days, they would have upturned it.
They would have asked for a retrial.
Yes. But because it's past 180 days, they can't. However, they do acknowledge that that was a wrong decision for the court not to accept this evidence. However, the court was silent on what now happens to the governor. Later. Do you set him aside, or do you do a retrial? So nothing was said.
Well
so status quo is that he's still governor, Abi?
Yes. And they asked them to maintain status quo. Yeah. So maybe the Supreme Court will give us...
I wanted to talk about what Oshomole had said, because I thought he made some important statement, saying that power is too much at the center, which we've always talked about. They should bring it by which all the states should be empowered. And more importantly, said that young people should be the ones involved in the conversation about restructuring. That we are the ones that are going to be in the government after they leave. So we should be the ones that actually have that conversation on restructuring. Restructuring should be such that each state should be independent and have that...
after they leave?
Independent,
do they leave? So they always die there. And which one have you seen out of all of them that has left?
Yeah.
The ones that are there when I was 20 are still there and I'm 58.
They are dying small.
Oh my God.
So don't say they are living. They are not living. By the time they leave, you young ones will be old.
Okay, let's go to the what she said. They are dying small now. The Punch. Fuel supply suspension. Petrol scarcity hits border towns. Fuel now 600 naira per litre. Picture here, tanker explosion rocks Lagos community. Kwara school raised. Magodo CDA raises the alarm as land grabbers convert Greenbelt into estate. Delayed transfer of indicted soldiers stalls Wadume's arraignment. 85-year-old woman missing after church service in Ondo. Winners pastor woman abducted by Boko Haram freed. Confusion over appeal court's judgment on Oyo governor's poll. Ministry NIS disagree as US retains reciprocity fee. And Buhari mourns David West, says he was indomitable. Okay, which...
Quickly, the Magodo. So this new estate in Magodo is being plan to develop a new estate on the green belt area. That area, of course, is where the water channel goes through straight to the lagoon. And now they've successfully put a canal there. They've sort of diverted the water, so people think that they're buying dry land instead of a swamp. Now, the problem for me is that this is happening, and government will later say, when the people in that area start to have flooding of the magnitude that happened in Isheri North, they will start saying they did not know. Government will say, well, we did not give them CFO, and all the other talks that we have regularly with government. It's extremely important that there's a town planning, somebody in government who checks this and says, this cannot happen, not at least under this administration. So maybe you want to go and spend money, wait for the next one.
So it's actually the Gateway Zone Community Development Association of Magodo that actually raised this alarm.
That raised this alarm about the new estate that they're trying to do there. And that their entrance is, of course, going to come through the gateway. Government, they won't build estate on top of water channel. Okay. Not here. Yeah. No, they should do the needful. Yeah. Because let me quickly tie this to what's happening in that area where I complain about. So a new area now is called Teddy Town. They've done the same thing now, blocked the canal to build either a terminal or a tank farm. And the residents there are saying they don't even know how their houses were marked and approved.
Are we not going to talk about the headline?
The petrol.
The petrol,
yes, that they have closed all the petrol stations in the border towns. So the only two, like Seme, the only two, so now fuel is 600 naira. The residents are groaning under, some have to travel like 28 kilometers to go and buy petrol. So
I remember the government has said that the reason why they closed the petrol stations within 20 kilometers is because of those who are smuggling petrol outside the country. And they're using those petrol stations
it is not the petrol stations that are selling the petrol that are the ones smuggling. It's those that don't sell petrol. You go, they are in Akpa, like this, they are in Akpa. There is nobody selling petrol there. Those are the ones, not the ones that are selling legal petrol now. Why do we have a reactionary government? Not an action. No action.
Okay, let's take the Wadume story.
Yeah, so the police is saying that the military authorities have still refused to release their main suspects in the Wadume story. Of course, we know the Wadume story, the kidnapper. And the main person, they say they have in their custody, Captain Tijani Balarabe. So that's the military officer with his boys who helped Wadume himself escape. So police have said they've done their investigation. These are the people. The only reason we are unable to arraign Wadume is because the military is refusing. Yes, they're still protecting their military officers that were involved in it.
All right, let's move on very quickly to Daily Trust. Apapa lockdown defies presidential intervention, and Ghanaian traders shut down more Nigerian shops.
So let's quickly go on to the Ghanaian.
Okay, so the Ghanaian Traders Union have shut down about 17 Nigerian shops, and that is in their plan to cripple the Nigerian businesses in their city. And I think this has been like a reaction to the border closure. So the Nigerian president of the traders in Ghana is saying that Nigerians should not even open their shops so that they can help, so that, you know, they are not destroyed. But they say the police has intervened, and we'll just see how this plays out. Yeah.
Okay, move on to Daily Sun. Okoje Onayekom Naba won over 2023 presidency. Declares state of emergency on roads, SSANU tells federal government. Customs generates over a trillion naira revenue in 9 months. Serap writes Bishop of Canterbury over Showore. Oyoguba Court of Ems Makede's victory. Ikpeazu ADB Afrexim Bank out to raise $400 million for Inyimba Economic City.
So, right. SANU, the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian University Workers, have called on the federal government to declare a state of emergency on all roads within Nigeria. I'd like to join voices and say, truly, we need that to happen. So maybe we'll first of all have to move. Let me quickly join in with the Apapa situation, because Apapa generates over 70%, according to the report in the Daily Trust, over 70% of the annual revenue coming from the ports. And because of that, of course, you see how dilapidated all the infrastructure around Apapa is now. Government is not, you know, they're not intentional about what they want to do in Apapa, because if they are, it's a simple fact. Just shut down that port, divert to other ports that are taking 30%. Let them take about at least 70% and lift the burden of Lagos while you fix these roads quickly. Right. Because fixing it with the continued commercialization of these areas will not just slow down the work, will make it impossible. Badagry Express Road has been in construction for more than close to 10 years now. is because as much as they are working, they are destroying the infrastructure that they are building there.
Okay, I wanted to take the archbishops are saying that they recognize that was during PDP's period where they did the zoning, where we have the north and south and southwest, and everybody's clamoring for southwest. However, they are particularly interested in whoever is competent, regardless of where they're from. So they are asking that Nigeria must vote in people who have the competence and who are going to take the nation to greater heights, and that it shouldn't be so much about where they're from, which I totally agree with.
So custom is generating a lot of revenue. They've just generated between January and September a little over ₦1 trillion. And this is from all their commands. Of course, the Apapa area command had the highest revenue with over 313 billion, raised. And it also showed that after the border closure, also there was an increase by about 6.1 billion that was raised from levies and excise duties and things like that. So we're making money. It looks like...
Moving on to Vanguard. Gloom as power supply lags behind target by 7,454 megawatts. FG declares war on importers of fake medicine. Appeal court upholds Abiodun Makinde's victory. We talked about that already. Rescind decision to regulate the social media space. NGE tells federal government. And Buhari Lawan and others mourn Tam David West, who died at age 83.
According to the major headline, power, of course, has crippled our plans to better our economy by 2020 because we've dropped again by 2,000 megawatts and as well, and as such, failed to meet the 10,000 megawatts target that we have. And they're saying that this, of course, will affect production. The Lagos State Chamber of Commerce also lent their voice to it, saying that this will, of course, affect businesses and in turn affect employment and, bettering our economy. Basically, that's what the article is.
Major line, Nigerian Tribune. Pneumonia kills 1 child every 3 minutes in Nigeria. CSC moves against defaulting companies over annual returns. 4 policemen arrested over alleged torture of 26-year-old to death. DSS plotting to file fresh charges against Showoresis Falanom. Buhari others mourn Tam David West, who died at the age of 83.
So the Child's Rights Organization is, child rights organization called Save the Children. That's the one we're talking about that DJ Copy was involved in. And he gave a report that about every 3 minutes a Nigerian child dies from pneumonia. And we had over 162,000 that died in 2018. And he says that children from poor backgrounds are more likely to die from this before their 5th birthday than, those that come from. So they're asking government to please, do more when it comes to ways that we can fight this disease.
Right.
And
finally,
is also asking us to please join hands with Save the Children to help children dying from pneumonia. Yes.
Right. Our hearts go out to the families of Tam David West, died. Yes. I know the president also is mourning and all the other governors are also mourning.
Yeah, but I had wanted to actually talk about the tanker that exploded.
Yes.
Yes, it exploded.
Oh, it was a front-page Punch.
Oh, it was Punch, yes.
Yeah.
I thought the other papers, but they didn't carry it.
Yeah.
They were carrying illegal petroleum products.
Vandalizing
PMS, actually, petrol. They vandalized the pipe. So the 6 trucks had already passed. The last one hit a electric wire and it fell and then exploded. And 3 taxis were burnt. And they said when they even tried to apprehend the driver, he brought out guns.
What?
He brought out a gun, yeah. And if you come near me, so he escaped. They even actually managed, they had the presence of mind to remove the number plates of the tanker. But they forgot the one on the glass.
Right.
So that's how
they can trace
the owner.
Yeah.
The owner of the
But
tanker.
6 had passed. They had vandalized the Kenya and
so that explains why they're able to.
Unfortunately, that's all we can take on Front Page Review. When we come back, we'll discuss our hot topic for the day. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So, we'd like to hear your opinion on a trending story. A Nigerian counselor recently advised men, and I quote, if you do a DNA test on your children and find out they are not yours, the problem isn't your wife. It means that you're probably infertile. And therefore, your wife tried to cover up your shame Therefore, you should thank her and silently leave those children alone in peace. Now, what are your thoughts on this? Because some people agreed that yes, the woman is actually trying to cover your shame, so don't say anything.
Right.
Others are saying that was wrong. Let's hear your thoughts. You can call us on 070-80668014. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweet. All right.
Until da.
In this part of the world where it's important, people always feel like, listen, Abu Ashiri, as in cover the shame. You don't throw our dirty linens out. Let's just package ourselves and just act as if everything is okay. Do you think that this woman's advice is the right approach in this kind of situation?
The counselor is a silly person. The counselor, whoever the counselor, male or female, is
He's advising the man to, the counselor is advising the man not to say anything. What are your thoughts?
The counselor is a silly person. Because if you are talking of protecting our secret, why would you do it without the person's, the man's involvement? CEO, we found out that you're infertile. What can we do together to cover our shame?
That's all.
You cannot go ahead and be covering someone's shame. The person, the counselor and the woman should be thrown out of the house together.
Exactly.
I don't even know what to say to this.
You know?
So me, I saw the story and I was like, who sent the woman? Because actually there are women who think that they're helping their husbands like that, and then they go and bring illegitimate children to a man, unsuspecting man most times. He goes to his old age when he thinks that he's helpless and finds out that you have been helping him in ways he cannot even accept. I bet don't give somebody gifts that he does not want. As a wife, if you find out by any chance, maybe you're doing fertility treatment that your husband has a problem, it's something both of you can solve. And if it is beyond science, because science has really helped us with a lot of things.
You of all people know that it's not easy to have that conversation with men sometimes. You know that, as a counselor of many marriages, you know that it's not an easy conversation to have for a woman. So there's some women that are petrified of their spouses. They feel like this man is somebody that I don't want, and I don't want a bigger issue. So let me just go and do this thing outside and have to, because before you even married him in the first place. Okay.
You see,
I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to understand, and I agree. I understand that as the moderator, you are trying to see the other side. But there is no other side in this matter. Okay. There is no other side. You have been sleeping with your husband for 3 years, and you didn't get pregnant. You went to go outside, and then you saw that you didn't. Go and confess, JJ.
In fact,
my darling, this matter, we have been doing this thing. Okay, right. I now went outside and enter. I beg, let's just keep quiet.
Right, let me flip it a bit, because since we all agree that what the woman did was wrong and is wrong. But when a woman is in that kind of situation, and you have already done the deed, where you have gone to do it with maybe the houseboy or the driver or something. Listen, this is life. It happens. So you are pregnant now. Now, what should be your approach? What should that woman do? Yes, it was a mistake, or sometimes it was intentional. Confess. Now you are pregnant. What do you do?
Confess. 1, 2.
Or get rid of the child.
Carry the child to the father's house for naming. Don't get rid of the child. Divorce your husband. If it's a mistake that has happened, leave the husband. That means the husband is not husband enough for you. That's why you tried. So go to the person that is father enough to husband you. It's your choice now.
Okay, so the way
the husband doesn't have house, he's living in your house.
No, you chose your choice now. You live where you can afford now.
So that's the thing, you know, a lot of us, we do things and never think of the consequences. Right. Definitely, everything has a consequence, you know, everything we do has a reward or, you know, the backlash. And so you should be able to face it. The thing is, when we make mistakes, the first thing we try to do is hide it or lie about it. In a situation like this, the best thing to do is just full and open and full disclosure. Do you understand? Just speak.
They'll not break your head. They'll not kill you.
No, they may not kill you, but they will give you the option. Yeah, they will give you the option of, you can, madam, please, this is the end of it. But some people have opened up and have been honest and have walked through things like that in their marriages, where the husband has found out my wife cheated, and so we know that this particular child is not mine, but we have decided to walk through it. It's better to just be honest, and then you're not killing yourself, the person, the child that you're bringing in, the man that is supposed to be married for you, the father of the child. There are just too many things that can go wrong from lying.
I'll come to you, Nima. Good morning. Are you there? Thanks for calling. Hello? Are you there? Okay.
Hello.
Thanks for calling. You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, good morning, Mariah.
Good morning, sir.
To everyone in the house.
Yes.
You guys are doing a great job.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, as regards this, what we are having discussions on,
Yes.
like the other lady said, you know, so if the guy is having issues as regards not being able to produce, they should have a mutual agreement as regards what they should do, you know, on this. Not that a woman will quietly or secretly go and have an affair with another man and then be quiet. For what now?
All right. But, okay, thank you very much. Well, I see,
They call
men
it
do,
tete-a-tete.
men do this all the time. They go out, get a woman pregnant, and then act like, what's the big deal?
No,
Bring the child in.
not all
So
of
when a
them.
woman does that, suddenly all hell
Not all
breaks
of them
loose.
act like
that's
that.
it. They don't act like what's the big deal.
They
The
know
mother
there's a
of that
big deal.
child looks after the child. Then the man will go and confess to his wife,
Yes, now.
I have a child outside. Some don't even confess. They wait till they die. Then they bring them to the...
It's very hard to come and post it.
The big difference.
So if you flip it to the woman,
I
what
wanted to
hap-
even flip it.
Yes.
So there are men who know that they have a problem and say to their wives, go out and try your luck. And any child you bring, it will stay. I saw a movie once from the Southeast where these things were allowed, where the husband would then take over the child. And I found it difficult to understand. Personally, if I was married to a husband and the only solution is to have a child is for me to go and do the arigbi and bring child for you, you will die childless.
Okay.
If I was the one who was supposed to go and sleep around to bring you a child, you will die childless. That's how bad this situation is. So women that, you know, are open to those kind of things should also see it.
But
Like, as something bad.
Nima, don't you think that if a woman is open to that kind of thing, there should be a written agreement? Because things always go awry afterwards. There's got to be a document where, listen, you have said I should do this. It's documented. Because sometimes in future, that's when they now call you a prostitute. They say, she went to go and sleep when it was actually your husband that asked you to
Thank
do
God they
that.
are Yoruba. There's Yoruba ways of finding DNA.
They don't need the Yoruba way.
We've seen it in
Yes,
Yoruba
scientific
movie
way, don't
where they
worry.
will say if he's a bastard, the sacrifice of the family will not go through.
You don't need that one. You just do
it's
DNA
okay.
test.
Go
You're
and
all right.
do- go and
Let me
write
I'll
the
come to you,
documents.
Nimara. Let me take this call. Thanks for calling. Are you there?
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Mariah. Good
Morning.
morning to you,
Morning,
the
sir.
ladies in the studio.
Yes, sir.
Today's topic is very nasty and very controversial.
Okay.
Yes. If you get married and you go for fertility test and you find that your husband is not fertile enough to put you in the family way, I think the best thing is to discuss with him and see if you quit the marriage. If children are your essence of getting married. If you can stay without children, you continue the marriage. But if you must have children and you know this man cannot impregnate you, then you quit the marriage and go and marry another man. That's the honorable thing to do. Sleeping around to come with a bastard, I don't think it's not the best option.
All right. Thank you very much. Go ahead, Maria.
Yeah, you know, okay,
sorry, go
let me
on.
just say, you know, another thing is I'm looking at this particular message from the counselor and I'm thinking maybe he's trying to play something with this. You know, usually when a woman finds herself in a situation where she's unable to have a child and the man goes out and has children, when he comes to beg her, he comes with his family members and her family members and they're saying, well, you know, you're unable to have children, but your husband has brought children for you. So that's the sort of things that they tell a woman usually, you know, to calm her down.
why can't we tell a man?
Yes, so I think that counselor is trying to say, okay, if you were to flip it, you man, would you accept that story? Would it be enough for you?
She has brought
to
children
take it?
for you.
Yeah, she has brought
Accept
children for
it.
you, accept it.
It's
So it
now.
just shows that
No
on
one
both...
says, the counselor must be, put it in capital letters, I must stress that one. Capital, everything. He said the counselor must be a cheater. So I'm not surprised about the justification for cheating. Giving another man's child to your husband is a demonic act.
I agree.
Everything in capital letters.
We agree. But see, I want us to be careful with this conversation.
Yeah.
Because all the time, men bring illegitimate children to women all the time.
Mariah,
So-
this is not Africa.
Right. Now they know it's
No
Africa.
other side.
They know when to choose it's Africa. It's when it's time to kind of thing. Like,
Omo says, which the shame is she covering? I thought they said the problem shared is a problem solved. If the couple had gone to the hospital and discovered the man was infertile, shouldn't she have joined him
See how
in
men
finding a
are,
lasting
see how men are
solution?
jumping on this topic.
It's
Let us
bad
go.
as badness. It's as bad as badness itself.
Let's go on a break. I want no more. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So on a related topic, we heard of another story that a woman actually opened her drawer and found out that her husband had done a DNA test for their children. Of course, all the children were his, but she was quite disappointed to know that her husband actually went behind her back to check if his children were legitimately his. And that in itself was very, very, for her, heartbreaking and betrayal. And in your view, do you feel that it was right for him to do that? Or do you think, because the woman felt that, have I given you any reason to believe that these children are not yours? So for him to do that, that was really heartbreaking. In your thoughts, is it right for a man to go and secretly do DNA tests for his children? Or call the wife, okay, let us just do DNA tests? I mean, do you think it's the right thing to do? I mean,
well,
don't do DNA.
Me, I don't mind though. If I'm sure of myself, if you do secret DNA tests, I don't mind.
So if you see that kind of thing in the drawer, it won't bother you?
It will not bother me. I'm sorry. I know that you people have different...
No, it's good
it will not bother me.
Okay.
But I will tell the man and say, oh, see now. You think I'm not carrying your children? Take it. Go and post it.
Isn't that
disrespectful? Secretly,
isn't that disrespectful to you?
Exactly.
Isn't that disrespectful to you, YK? You can actually think of it.
You see, in this day and age, they are this age where I have seen many things. I have seen many women give their husbands fake children.
Right. You won't find it.
Well, if I was a man, I will do secret DNA.
Okay. Okay.
So unless there is another DNA when the child is my carbon copy.
It can be a carbon copy.
It can be a relative.
It can be my brother.
They look like
it can be my brother. Fine. That is why you see. That is why it's better. It's just that the man did not have enough confidence to tell his wife.
Nima, what are your thoughts?
I cannot be in a marriage this long that I've been and find out my husband does a secret DNA on my children. He's questioned my integrity as a woman.
But children are carbon copy now.
Apart from that, children, they can be, even me, I'm looking like my husband after a while now. Is my father. If a child can now look like a person that is taking care of the child after a while. Right. So that's besides the point.
So it starts questioning your integrity.
Questioning a woman that has lived with you, because I actually had this experience from a friend who came to confide in me on her husband doing DNA on her children. They were his. But she was at the brink of killing herself. Like, how did he do? 15 years, I've given him my all, I've done everything. How does he do such a thing? And I could understand. Because me, I was even telling her, calm down. I know in my heart I will not sleep in that house that day. If I those children, you will not see. That's how bad it is. Because I can't imagine. I would never do, if we are questioning, will I flip the table and
so
distrust
if a man
that
is questioning the DNA of his children, you think he should
the
approach the wife?
It's the wife that is.
You know what? If he approaches the woman will not say yes or no now.
So for me, I see,
sorry.
Okay, this is a lose-lose situation. There's no way to do it and you'll get away with it. If you were to go to the wife, it would be the same problem. She would feel betrayed, she would feel hurt. But the thing is, if there was a reason to suspect your wife or suspect that your children are not yours, the best way to go is a conversation. And then you damn the... Yes, you deny, and then you damn the consequences. See, these are the reasons. See, because I feel that man did not just stupidly go to do a DNA. There must have been cause for him. Yes, there must have been cause. I'm not saying that he had suspicions, probably, but there are cause. So why don't we sit down and talk about those suspicions? We have women. I'm not putting this in the same basket or the same category. We have women who constantly check their husband's phones, who check where they are, and the husband has said to you several times, I'm not doing anything, but there's nothing that will convince you until you find yourself right there and there where he is. So I'm not saying that the DNA is the same thing, but why do we give a pass to a woman who constantly questions her husband's fidelity and do not give a pass for the husband?
Okay.
Excuse me. Please, I need to. If I'm checking my husband's phone, if I ask my husband, and he says, oh, he's not doing anything, and he's doing a call. If your husband is doing something, is he going to tell you?
He won't tell you now.
So that's not what we're saying. Something. Yeah. So you will go, because you don't trust him, you will go and check. Yeah. So if you are checking, it's the same way you are coming home late from work every night, 10 o'clock. Yeah. Then he called your office at 8. They say, she left since. Yeah. This woman is doing kulukere movement. On that note, let me just make sure that these ones are mine.
Especially after watching your video every day and hearing
that kind of DNA test. When you get the result, just tear it there.
Exactly.
Don't bring it home.
In fact, bring it home, bribe the doctor. Make sure the doctor does not even mention after tearing the result, because I still insist. If you have suspicion about your wife's movements, and I believe that some men are just overreactive, they react out of proportion. A woman who is trying to do a hustle, I know of a woman who has been banned by her husband from having a business, and now she's secretly doing it. So now that she has to take delivery of designs to a client, will it not be suspicious of her movement?
Let me take this call. Austin, are you there? Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, good morning, ma.
Good morning. Go ahead.
Well, I would say that the man must have been seeing some negative movement from the
It's
woman.
negative. He's overreacting.
But now, the man have the right to call the woman and question her. Because now he has done the test and he has seen that the woman has not been doing what he expected. Just like what Nima said, he doubted the personality of the woman. And every woman will not like that. So that is why, as a man, when you begin to see something, call that woman to order, have a dialogue, so that you don't assume what is
The
not.
wrong thing. Thank you. That's all.
Someone just made a tweet.
If the man calls the woman, has a dialogue with the woman, and the woman says, no. Meanwhile, she knows that all of them are not his children. No. Me. Darling. No. They will do that. Excuse me. No, excuse me. You don't know what the man has experienced. Maybe his friends, maybe about 3 or 4 of his friends have gone to go and do DNA.
Oh, he has watched your view enough.
Now, and all the children are not his own.
Yes.
And when the children are not his own, you will say,
So you don't know what motivated the man to do that.
I mean, not their own. So there must have been a motivation that made the man.
Go and check.
Let me put a
Remember
spanner
that
in
one
the
I told
work.
you that was 60, that when he took American embassy did DNA
Yeah,
for...
found out that children...
And out of 4, 3 were not his own.
Jesus Christ.
So Bukola tweets here, she says, the man may also be questioning his ability to father children. Maybe he has been trying unsuccessfully to impregnate another lady, side chick. Probably. So that's
Let
also
me go on
an
a quick
angle.
break. We'll continue this conversation when we come back. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
All right, thanks for staying. As we wrap up on this, we need to be sure with the angle we're taking this from, because it's easy to say it's disrespectful to a woman when she finds out her husband checked the DNA of the children. However, we said something during the break that if a sister finds out that a woman may be unfaithful, wouldn't you push your brother to at least go and check to be sure?
Yeah. My own brother.
Yeah.
As he catch her like this, she go to her father's house, she will know that DNA will follow the children. She does not have to doubt it. You see, the secrecy, that non-disclosure is what I have a problem with. Yeah. So what I'm used to is that my own people from my place, the man will let you know that, madam, for certain reasons, best known to me, these children are going for DNA. So up front, you know what you're up against.
Okay.
So whether you want to be defending yourself, going up and down, be kneeling up everywhere, that's your business. Personally, once you tell me, okay, go on, if you do the DNA for the children and this is the result, am I allowed certain demands as well? Because go ahead and do DNA. You have questioned me.
If the children are mine, therefore I'll have my makeup.
I can take a trip with my children and we'll see later.
Excuse me.
So it's anyway.
Your brother's wife, maybe when she was having the children, she didn't cheat. She wasn't cheating. So listen, the children are his, but she was cheating. So what will happen? You will still say she should go away.
If she's not cheating,
they can reconcile.
Reconcile what?
Oh, they can reconcile.
We cannot reconcile. And I hope I'm speaking for my brother. He's watching. We cannot reconcile. If it happens, go to your father's house. We'll see you later.
Where will you put the children?
We'll take our children. We will take our children.
Sorry.
These children that our DNA has given us.
Respect.
They both own the child.
A woman that we are questioning her character now should carry our children.
Before? It's not her child.
They are both her children. They are both her children.
We are not saying they are not.
They are both the children.
We are not saying that, though. That's not what I'm saying.
You say you will keep
this woman is no longer.
So we should be giving access.
She's no longer character.
So once you made it about Nima's brother, the whole thing. Because
Yeah,
I have seen
not
Nima
personal.
discuss this thing and talk about how you sit down with a lawyer and discuss how to do the children. Now all of a sudden, it's Nima's brother. She's saying we are taking our children.
My nieces and nephews, we will
So
take
you see,
them.
if it gets personal, it's different.
That's what I'm saying. Me, if the man that I'm married to or what, I don't secret DNA on my child, and I see the DNA
result.
I will carry the money with me. You think that, in fact, okay, I'm cheating now, but that time I wasn't cheating.
Oh, Lord.
Because this thing is about insecurity.
Yes.
Largely. And that's where I have a problem. Your insecurity should not taint me in any way. Because I will carry myself well.
That is why he went to do it
He's
secretly.
tainting. He's tainting
He
YK.
went to do it secretly.
Okay.
He didn't tell anybody.
I've seen-
Okay, but
Then
to
you
wrap
act out
up,
of
what
proportion.
advice do we give men? Okay, yes, so a man is suspecting his wife.
Then tell her.
He's saying that it's possible this children are mine. So we're asking him to first have that conversation, still do the test, but with her in the know.
Yes.
Not behind her back, because that's why you're saying that
Yes,
don't
ma'am.
do it behind. Then it shows that you don't,
Okay,
it's disrespectful.
So if she says no, you can't do DNA.
How can she say
Wait,
no?
if she says so, there's what of the one I just told you about that the woman said no.
If he says no, then
The woman said no.
Why
What do you do?
In a marriage, two people have rights, not one person. As the right that she have to say no is the right the man have to say yes. He will pick up that child and go for the DNA.
So
it's
he's
a
still
big
taking it without her knowledge. He's still taking the child without her
No,
knowledge.
with her knowledge now. She knows.
She will
that-
not agree.
No, without consent.
Without
but
consent,
knowledge.
YK.
It's without consent, but with knowledge.
Wait, I'm in the house unless you beat me. I say you can't take this child for DNA. Listen,
YK.
I can't. You are saying you can't take this
Can I
child.
kidnap my own
No, I can't take this child for DNA. I can't. You cannot take this child for DNA. I will hold the child. So you want to beat me?
You and the child.
When they take the child,
You have to beat me now. You can't just take the child from me.
I will just.
So you are now advocating.
They will lift you up with the
labor,
child. All of you
abuse.
to the hospital.
Physical abuse.
Go and sue now.
Listen,
Let me
I say I'm not agreeing. You can't take this child.
Okay, child
Because
will
you
go.
can't.
Why
Listen,
the point? Yeah.
you can't do this DNA.
Yeah.
You cannot. I say you cannot, and you are saying you must do it. And I'm with the child 24 hours a day. You must take it secretly. You must take that child. You cannot, because I'm not agreeing. I'm flipping the coin now. I'm saying, if I don't agree, you have to either do it secretly or beat me
I
and
agree
take the
with you.
child.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
and for me, my advice would be, if you do it, please tear the thing, burn it.
Yes.
I mean,
do it there.
burn
You and the
it.
doctor and tear it and move on.
Did he sell the word that you have falsely accused your wife?
Unfortunately, that's what we can take. When we come back, we're going to continue the conversation we started last week concerning this house of torture. Because last week we tried to bring in an imam, we tried to bring in a mental health expert and a parenting expert. But today we're bringing in an Islamic psychologist who can help us get into the minds of why our parents take these young people to these places for rehabilitation. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So in the continuation of our direct discussion on House of Tortures, we'll be taking a critical look at the so-called rehabilitation centers, the age-long tradition with religious connotation, and analyzing the mental state of children, amongst others. To join us on this conversation is a female Islamic scholar who is also a clinical psychologist, Ghaneeyah Sulaiman-Olokodana. Welcome to the show, madam.
Thank you.
Good to have you. You can call us on 070-806-68014. You can also tweet us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. Okay, so last week we tried to thrash this issue, but we felt that we didn't probably get to the surface, or we didn't even scratch the surface enough. I like, as an Islamic scholar or somewhere.
A Muslim correction. Okay, I'm not an Islamic scholar.
Islamic psychologist.
I'm a clinical psychologist with a bias for faith-based counseling.
Great. So as a clinical psychologist with the faith-based bias, I'd like you to help us understand why we get to see these rehabilitations, Islamic rehabilitation centers across the country. We're told that it was an accepted way of getting children who have either mental instability or children who have gone, who are just difficult children, how they get them rehabilitated. But I'd like you to tell us why people take this approach and how did they become something of what it is today, of a house of torture? How it happened?
It's really been unfortunate seeing all those things that have been coming up, you know, seeing children in such rehabilitation centers, and they've been tortured and all that. But I think really it speaks to the issues that are really at hand.
Right.
When things like this come up, and they come up continuously within a short period of time, we really need to go back and see what exactly is the problem. These are things that over time we've seen happens in almost every religion, almost every culture, across every strata of society. So we can't really say that, oh, this is a problem of any particular religion.
Certainly.
Rather, we should now take a more objective look. What really is the problem? Because you find out that there's something that runs common across all the instances where we've seen them, whether it's maybe, for instance, in the Catholic Church or in Anglican or even amongst Muslims. So it's not the religions per se that have the problem, but the people who, in quotes, claim that they are practicing religion.
So many pastors come, I mean, the pastors, the clerics that we've seen in these rehab centers said their parents brought them willingly to these centers to be rehabilitated.
Yes.
The pastors are saying that their job was to help these children to serve God, to know the Bible better or know the Quran. I'm asking you now, was that the right approach for parents to take their children to these places?
Parents, there's nothing wrong in parents taking their children to religious scholars for moral guidance, for moral upbringing. However, when things go wrong, then we now need to take a look at what kind of parents are doing that and what kind of religious leaders are they taking those children to. We may think that the parents are willing, but are they really willing? In Islam, for instance, parenting is a very serious responsibility that God himself has told us in the Quran that apart from children being a trust and a gift from him, they are also a responsibility that we are, as parents, we are the ones that are first and foremost accountable to how our children develop. Because the Quran tells us that the children are what we call, like, they are born in a state of fitra, that's a state of pureness. So it is us as parents that turn them into either good or bad. Either from the way we bring them up or the environment in which we make them, we expose them to. So when a parent tells you that, oh, they are taking their child to a religious cleric for moral upbringing, is also first and foremost a failure on the part of that parent. Because the first duty of any parent, at least from an Islamic perspective, is to give that child religious education. So the religious education that any child needs at that age is the duty of the parents first. Yes, if any parent now fails and thinks is a religious leader that is going to do that, their own job is secondary. Their own responsibility is a secondary one.
So in order to raise godly children, parents try different things. So I know that growing up, my dad was sent from his family compound to a Quranic scholar's family compound to live with them for a few years to master the Quran. So this was a traditional thing, common amongst our tribes. Also, there's the Islamic methods that we hear of people with mental health issues, serious mental health issues having to be used, they use Quranic verses to calm them. And this has become like a trade that, you know, people will now put excuses on and start to do run this kind of centers that are common everywhere. Because when they broke in the papers, I kept saying to my colleagues here that it's not a northern trend. It's everywhere, even in the southwest. And we have people religiously claiming to have the means to cure mental health issues because, of course, it is allowed to calm people with the verses of the Quran. Where did we cross that line? What's that thin line that is crossed, that is wrong? And, you know, kind of help us shed more light.
Unfortunately, I think the general thing that is happening in society, laziness on everyone's part. So parents who don't have time, who think they don't have the time to bring up their children, maybe because of work, societal pressures and all that, they push the responsibility. The same way many of us have pushed the responsibility of education to the school. So we think, oh, the school should just do everything. After all, I'm paying school fees and all that. But if we look at it again from a different perspective, trying to be objective, when parents take their children to all these so-called religious scholars, how equipped are they? Do we find out?
So in your own opinion, who do you think, if let's say I'm the policeman that caught the religious house, who do you think should go to prison? The religious house or the parent that stupidly took the child?
Well, in this instance, even looking at it, even from a religious perspective, whatever those so-called Islamic clerics have done, they have clearly contravened even the teachings of Islam. One of the objectives of Sharia, as we know as Muslims, is the dignity of life. Every child has a right to dignity. In fact, mutual respect between adults and children is so emphasized in Islam that children, you think sometimes that they are right. What's left now? All these so-called human rights. If we look at them critically, they have a basis in Islamic
How about shed light on this issue of Sharia that you talked about? Because a lot of people have that wrong perception that Sharia is all about cutting people's hands off.
Sharia is not about cutting people's hands. Sharia is what we Muslims know as our way of life, the guiding principles that the religion has given
the
us.
10 Commandments.
Yes. So outside of worship, as we know it, 5 daily prayers, praying, fasting in Ramadan, and the basic 5 pillars of Islam. Those are the things that in Islam, everything is what we call haram. That is forbidden, except what has been clearly stated.
Right.
Meaning that the things that have been clearly stated are not that many. That's why they've been clearly stated. So in terms of worship, in terms of what we call ibadah, you do the little, I'll say, that has been clearly written down. But in terms of what we call muamalat, that's our everyday social interactions, relationship between husband and wife, between parents and children, between, interdependence in the society, everything is halal, that is allowed, except what has been specified as. So it means that what you can do amongst yourself in your worldly affairs is a wide range.
Right.
It's only people that have that, if everybody says, oh, you are not supposed to do this, they are the ones that would bring evidence. So it means that God in his mercy has given us a wide range, which is where our innovation, our intellectualism and all that, our culture, everything comes in. But religion, Islam specifically, also places a certain caveat that if culture opposes the basic Islamic principles, then those Islamic principles would overrule.
Right. Okay.
So even if a so-called Islamic center is doing things that are obviously contravening Islamic principles, that person is obviously not practicing Islam. So in this case, we have Islamic centers, in quotes, that have violated several rights of the children themselves.
So we have... You don't think the parents too should be punished?
They could be punished. Now, it depends. Are they living in a society where Islamic rule is... So apart from the moral wrong that they have done, of course, we know that as Muslims, you'll be held accountable.
Right.
If you put your children in that kind of environment and they turned out like that, you will be held accountable as a parent. Right. But if we also live in a society where the laws of the society also make such parents accountable, then so well and good.
Okay, so we have... Okay.
Jakub, thanks for calling. He's there.
Yeah, I'm there, Mariah. Good morning.
Good morning. Go ahead, please.
And good morning to you, and what's your guest? Please allow me to talk about the second topic.
Yeah, go ahead. Let it count.
I think I'm totally agree with Sister Nima on that very particular topic. A man that did a secret DNA on his child, I think it's totally wrong. Without not telling your wife that you want to conduct a DNA, and then what's the reason that you even have to conduct that DNA? Secret. Mariah, that means that from the word of God, you don't even trust your wife. And then if you don't trust your wife, let her know that all these children, I need to conduct DNA on them. And then you go behind, you are not doing the DNA, you find that same children is yours. Okay, what are you going to tell the woman now? And then you are going to plead to the woman that I'm sorry. Sorry after the damage has been done. So, to me, the woman should say, anybody that did DNA, a man that did DNA, secretly without not let his wife know, is totally unallowed.
Thank you very much, Jacob. Thank you very much for your views. Yes, go ahead, Mariam.
So, just to be a bit more practical, we have parents who have done their best. And they have children who are difficult for one reason or the other. And for most people, they feel that just like you are a psychologist with a, faith bias, there are people who would rather take their children to places where they feel that at least, apart from teaching my child the right thing, there's also the religion to further enforce, that is what they would prefer. So that has created this industry, I would say. Yeah. So my own is, there must be a place in our religion that calls for that, or else they won't have been created in the first place. I understand the abuse of it, but there's a reason why those places have been created. Yes,
you're right. Islam allows for children to go for such religious education and upbringing. And just like the concept of schooling, sometimes you take your child to a boarding school and upbringing. And just like the concept of schooling, sometimes you take your child to a boarding school so that what you want them to learn in terms of Western education, in this case, is more concentrated. They are in school for a certain period, and then they come home. The problem would be parents that, we've had instances of parents who would take their children from maybe as little as 2 years old to a boarding school. During the holidays, they'll tell the school, let this child stay there. So the same thing, if your child was ill, for instance, and you took the child to the hospital, would you tell the doctor, please, just keep my child in the hospital? So even if you think your child needs religious upbringing or for a certain period, some moral guidance because of the child's recalcitrant behavior, it's not supposed to become a permanent thing, such that you just leave the child.
11 years.
And any place you take your child to, and for you to come and visit the child, they would probably just tell you, oh, just drop the foodstuffs and money and go. As a parent, you should be suspicious. You should be suspicious because if you can't see the environment, look at those children when they came out. They had rashes, some of them were ill, and a lot of unspeakable things were being done to them, which are even against Islam. Homosexuality, for instance.
Because in Christianity, there's something called, we believe in the concept of deliverance because Jesus did cast out demons. So there's that point of where we believe that some people can be possessed and they need to be delivered. Now, in that kind of situation, some parents will take their children to pastors for that deliverance process. Now, my question to you, madam, is that an authorized way? Is there a preferred way in Islam to remove these kind of demons? Because we saw that these children were in chains. So there's the possibility that they were undergoing some kind of deliverance at some point. And if deliverance is approved in Islam, what's the procedure? What's the process like? Because at our own end, you go through a series of prayers and you invoke the Spirit of God to take over your spirit. So how is it done in Islam?
Okay, yes, what we term deliverance, which in Islam we know as ruqya, is something that is also allowed. As a people of religion, spirituality plays a role, a major role in our lives. And as Nigerians, we always claim that we are very, very religious. So we can't take that away from people. But what Islam also tells us is that religion apart, there's a concept that we call tie your camel first. Then you put your trust in Allah. In Islam, you are encouraged, in fact, it's a duty on you to first of all do what is necessary. So when you are ill, prayer is not the first thing. You go and see a doctor. In today's world, maybe during the time of the Prophet, peace be upon him, we didn't have doctors and healthcare access like we do now. In the same way, we didn't have a lot of the diseases and all that we are doing. Whatever they had during that time was enough to cater to their needs and issues that time. But now, just like it had been prophesied by the Prophet, that there will come a time when, this was it. During his time, women could not even go out on their own. They needed to have a chaperone. But it had been prophesied there will come a time when women would even be able to fly and travel long distances without the need of a chaperone. This was in days when what they were using as mode of transportation was camels and all that. So it's a forward-thinking thing that there will come a time. So Islam gives room for, for change, for progress. So you do what is currently available.
Let me take this call.
That currently obtains. So you don't use old school style. So if during the time of the Prophet, maybe, or during the olden days, what was applicable then was these centers that they did rote learning and all that. Times have changed.
Jimo, thanks for calling. Are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
Go ahead, please. You're live.
Yeah, hello. watching that program. My own point is that, to me, at first, I would blame the parents. I heard about this issue for almost 2 or 3 years ago, that they have certain centers somewhere like that, because one boy was vulnerable in our area, and they want to take the boy to that place. But I don't know the area, but they told me it's around that our own town there. Not until recent that I saw the scene. Now, what I just believe is that the parents at first must be blamed for this, because the parents, even around their environment, they have some ustads, they have some ulamas, those that are well-fed, that can counsel the parents, and they can counsel the boy, so they can give better advice to the boy, so that the parents will be able to know what is happening to his own children. Instead of just abandon the children to the child to that place, and then they believe that everything will be okay. The Abba is also doing it. I don't like the way the system is doing. You can't bite more than you can chew. If you can cure somebody for some time, you for certain things. When they are now plenty, so definitely you will not be able to control. You should have called for the parents maybe to come and take them back, or your capacity cannot reach that. They are just collecting them to that area. So it's not okay. So that's my own view. I think parents need to be blamed.
All right, as a clinical psychologist, I'd like you to talk to parents now, because obviously a lot of parents seem to be careless where they give their children to these people and don't even take the proper precaution. I'd like you to just give us some tips on how to ensure that even if you're going to take your child to an Islamic scholar, what should you look out for?
Okay, thank you. I think basically, first we should look at all these things that have been happening as an opportunity for us to reflect.
Yes.
And think again that things that we are doing, either as parents individually or as a collective, the society at large, where have we gone wrong? Let's all go back. So as parents, we need to go back to our first duties. When we say we are parents, it brings a certain level of responsibility on us. A couple could be married, and if they don't have kids, they are not parents. But once you have entered that parenting role, then you need to meet up your responsibility. And it's about striking a balance. Yes, you can get the support that you need to help you maintain that balance. But the support must also be in line with your own principles. Many times we find that some of these people, like we heard, some of the children, they are children of the rich and affluent. So you can imagine them taking their children to such...
Can I pause you for a quick second? You see, when you say children of the rich, sometimes when the rich, quote unquote, take these children to these kind of places, because they are children they don't want people to see with them. And that children are autistic, children have some mental instability, have some mental illness. These are people that they just want to hide these children. And I'd like to go back to Islam. How does Islam, what kind of prescriptive measures does Islam provide for when you have a child in that kind of situation? What do you do?
When you have a child in that kind, whether the child is autistic or has some mental illness or not, it's first you need to take that child for an objective evaluation with a professional. If an Islamic scholar is not a medical doctor, you can't take your child to the place first. It's after maybe the medical doctor has done all they can, they've tested the child, they've Islamic spiritual guidance, prayers and all that can now come in as support. As support. But not that you will take your child to an Islamic scholar who is obviously not qualified. What people don't know is that when they just put that toga of Islamic scholar, in Islam, we have what we call Islamic sciences. All the areas of life, spheres of life, whether it's mathematics, whether it's science, whether it's geography, everything that is clearly stated. And even in Islamic education, these things are taught. Some people, many of these Islamic scholars that people are looking at, they probably don't have more than the equivalent of what we call maybe secondary school. In terms of it's because, again, we live in a society where, and we also need to look at this. What's the role of society, of the government at large in helping to propagate these things? We are a people of religion, we say. I'm not saying this is supposed to be an excuse, but sometimes when people see that they don't have much of an option, then they go underground. And then we'll always have people that would help them to, find justification. So we have people that a certain culture or a certain area, they already have an established form of education. What government can do is to encourage and provide the support that would make that form of education thrive positively, not suppress it and push it underground. Because there will always be some people that will believe all these spiritual leaders over and above.
Thank you very much. On that note, we have to wrap up. Thank you so much. Do you have anything you want to rush in anything on this matter?
Not on... on this matter, I haven't checked, but I just didn't want to.
Okay, Abisoye Black Boy says there's nothing wrong in it if and only parents will take up the responsibility that comes with having children. You are the child's #1 trainer and teacher. If you have failed in that, you can pass up the child to a religious teacher.
All right, that's all we can take. Thank you so much, madam, for coming. That's all we can take on today's show. We'll see you tomorrow. Is our live audience show. Please come early so you can get a seat. Have a fabulous day. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.